Okay, so today I'm gonna try to answer this question: should the majority rule? Now, for a very straightforward thinking type of person, I think there are only two answers to this question: yes or no. And then if you answer yes, bravo, congratulations, you have faith in humanity, blah blah blah. And then if you answer no, what kind of monster are you? Do you not believe in democracy? Do you want there to be anarchy, dictatorship? What? I do think that that's the way that people react very often, and I don't think that that's the right way. So let me present you with the third option, and here's what this answer is. So for this question, should the majority rule? Your answer is no. But then you add something to it. And what you add is basically, and this is what I add to this answer, and this is how I'd answer that question. I would say that no, I don't agree with this statement. I don't think that the majority should rule. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I don't have faith in humanity. It just means that I don't have faith in the thoughts and actions of people that are alive and, here right now. And I just might not have enough faith in our current systems and the way that things work currently, okay? But it doesn't mean that I don't have faith in people whatsoever. It just means that I don't have faith in what is happening now, and I don't really agree with what is happening now, but I do have faith in our species, and I do have faith in the future and in humanity and in humans. I just don't think that right now we're capable of making, sane decisions using the majority rule. And yes, if you've managed to figure that out already, that means that I do not really, think that the majority of our population right now has got smart things to say. Yes, I do think that. I don't think that we have smart things to say. And honestly, there's plenty of proof if you really want to prove that. Take a look at the American elections that happened in 2016, right? And so, okay, everyone knows that Donald Trump was elected president, and the thing is, there should be no question here, and this is not, this isn't really politics. This is something that any sane person should be able to see, that, oh, okay, if this is the behavior, if this is what he says, if this is the way that he really is not the kind of person that we want to have as a representative of any kind. And this is just one example. There are just too many examples of the majority choosing the wrong thing for me to agree with that rule, for me to agree and to say that, yes, this is the way that it should be, this is the way that democracy should work, this is the way our system should work. It just isn't, not now. And this is something that, this really might change in the future. We might be able to provide everybody with a good standard of education, which is not the case now. And we might be able to control the environment a little more so that people aren't exposed to things. Because think about it, what do you have to be exposed to agree with what the current president of the United States stands for? What kind of person do you have to be? What do you have to be exposed to? Or maybe how unknowledgeable do you have to be to agree with and to allow him to stay in office? And I have to say, I really don't understand these people, because if I was in one room with that guy, with that man, and I wouldn't just be able to stand there. I would walk out. I wouldn't even, engage in any way. I would just make a face that, was visible for everybody, that I'm not happy with this situation. I don't want to be here. I don't want to talk to this guy. So yes, I think that basically the question that we should all be asking ourselves is, do we want to allow the majority, both the educated people and the uneducated ones, the ones that are really into something, they really have some knowledge, they really made a decision based on, research, and then there are people that just flip a coin or just really do not know, or sometimes people vote against somebody. They vote for somebody only to vote against somebody else, not because they agree with this person that they're voting for. We choose our representatives and then they make decisions for us. As long as we keep choosing our leaders, really, they will keep disappointing us, and there will be weird situations going on because it just... And then there are also situations where, there's some kind of vote going on, and the way that someone wins is, 51% to 49%, for example, so that's the situation where literally half of the people that were voting are unsatisfied with the result. And then also what we should remember is that even that result is not really valid, if you will, because the percentage of the population that went and voted might be 30, might be 40, might be anything, but it's not 100%. It's still the majority of the population might be totally against that candidate, and so yeah, so that's the craziness of it. But it's also worth mentioning that, you know, sometimes there are situations where you really don't want to vote for anybody because you don't agree with anything, and sometimes it's really hard to decide whether, oh, do I want to vote for this or for that, because I don't really agree with either. So I don't know what people do in those situations. I think that that's what they do. They just don't go and they don't cast their vote. Anyway, so to answer the title question, should the majority rule? My answer to that would be no. I don't think that the majority should rule. I think that we should focus on finding and picking the individuals that are really trying to bring change, positive change to this world. And yeah, and we should also open ourselves for that. We should really try to understand that change is necessary, that the current systems and the current way that everything works is not the right way that it should be. Even though when you go to school, when you learn, when you just grow up, it seems like everyone is telling you that this is the way that it is and this is the way that it should be. Like, people don't really talk about alternatives, and that is really, really not good. We should be talking about alternatives. We should be talking about that all the time, to be honest, and we should be trying to figure out a way to make everything work differently, because clearly what's happening now is not working, and one of the reasons why it's not working is because it's too complex, and you know, complexity kills, and it's not it's just, you have to research it, but it does. The more complicated something is, the harder it is to you know, to form regulations or anything for that to function properly, and after a certain amount of time, it just there's so much of everything that it's really hard to remember the core values and the way that things really should be like. So I think the hardest part of this discussion now is trying to decide what should we do then? If the majority rule is not the right way to go, then what is? Well, I don't think that choosing people just based on their PhDs or something like that is a good idea either. I don't think that a degree means anything. I've lived long enough to see that it does not mean anything. Do we actually need to hand power to anybody? That's the thing that we should really think about here. If we were to simplify our systems, if we were to create something new and something that works differently, maybe we wouldn't have to choose representatives. Or maybe it would work differently and they would be chosen not based on age, not based on degrees, not based on anything else, but just based on what kind of people they are and what they stand for. Some values and some things that people stand for should be recognized automatically and should be just you know, considered right or wrong without question. And yeah, and that is something that we still have to work on, because we really have trouble with that. We did form some laws and we did form some things that are there no matter if the majority wants them or not, because we just believe those things to be true and correct. But it's just a couple of things and we still need more. The claims that we've made until now are so general and they are helpful, but they're very general. Our world has become way too complex for that to just fix everything. So yeah, this is just a couple of random thoughts. I hope this video has been interesting, and thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in 2 weeks time. Bye.